Hello, my name is Matt Bird, and welcome to the PublishU podcast, where we explore the real life stories of authors from around the world. Today, I'm joined by Olivia Shone from Somerset, who has written a book called Whole. Olivia, welcome.
Thank you. Good to be here.
It's great. And yeah, your book now is out there for the world to buy and enjoy. So, how does that feel to you?
It feels, I think I've got over the awkwardness, the embarrassment, and there is some excitement, actually. Yeah,
Good.
I'm really glad I've written this book and I'm really glad it's out there.
Even beyond the English humility, there is excitement.
Yes, yes. And I actually write about that. There is a section in my book on humility as opposed to humiliation,
Okay.
and quite a bit about self-acceptance. So I've done the work and I'm doing it now. I'm excited.
Oh,
Yes.
very good. So, Olivia, tell us a little bit about you. You're in
Mm.
Somerset. What is it you do? Who are you?
Yes, I find myself in the well-being space.
Mm.
So I teach some yoga, some mindfulness, and I am a psychotherapist and practice in private practice and also a local counselling centre. So yeah, and I live here with my family
Ah,
nearby. Yes, lots of
dogs and
them.
cats and horses and
No, we've had all of those, but no, it's four children and they're kind of late teens and
okay.
beyond. So yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Empty nesters soon.
exactly. Which is maybe why I've written a book. Not that I've got lots of time, and my goodness, it takes time to write a book. I
Does.
didn't quite account for how full on it would be. Yeah.
And you wanted to do it rather swiftly, but we'll come back to that. Olivia,
Yes.
what was it that first inspired you to write your book?
Well, I've probably sketched out four different structures for four different books over the last 10 years. They're sitting on my laptop.
Mm.
I started a doctorate 3 years ago, 2.5 years ago, very quickly decided that was going to take too long, and no one would ever read what I'd written. And so, there had been seeds planted
Mm.
within, and we hit 2025, New Year, there was your course. And I thought, let's just get on and do it. I'm turning 50 this summer. Let's get a book out, the
Mm.
first one. So it was a combination of being 50 and a lot of time thinking about it and your course
Mm.
that made me just go for it.
The universe brought it all together.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
it's interesting about, you had four book structures on your computer. I mean, there are billions of books, sadly,
Mm,
on computer
mm,
hard drives around the world that have never been published, never will be published
mm,
because they're
mm,
unpublishable.
mm.
So it's great that you bit the bullet and said, I'm going to get some help and I'm going to write this thing. So
Yes.
tell us about the heart of your book, Olivia. It's called Whole. Now that sounds intriguing.
Yes.
Tell me more.
Ah. Okay, well, the subtitle is A Somatic and Spiritual Pathway to Peace and Fulfillment.
Mm,
Um, so it's a self-help book, a book to inspire and to inform, and it's practical as well. There are practices in each section in the book, but it's a book that is wanting to help people to experience wholeness, which I believe is the desire of all of us. We're all longing to feel more whole, and by that I mean feel okay in ourselves, that we can survive in life's challenges. But maybe more than that, we all long to thrive as well and have that fulfillment that I think we're grasping after in our everyday lives. So I'm touching into the deep existential desires that I believe we all have. My work as a therapist, I see,
yeah.
and that's what I'm writing about.
Mm. And what is it, in your opinion, Olivia, that makes a person feel like they're thriving?
Mm. I would say it is arriving and settling into your own life. firstly, not always thinking that the answers and the fulfillment are somewhere out there on the horizon. One day when I've got this job or that salary or that relationship sorted. It's about living in your own life. And I don't just mean the everyday kind of aspects of one's life, but living within who you are and enjoying being the person that you're made to be. And there's great joy in that, in just being who you are. So my book's really about growing into the fullness of being a human being, and trying to move away from the human doing aspect that our culture is encouraging.
I really like that.
Mm.
Yeah. I mean, I sometimes call it being present in the moment, but I think you put it so much better.
It is, and that's a very much sort of taken, extracted from mindfulness. But the idea of being present in the moment is so that we can not only survive but flourish and thrive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm. And how is it that we can I try to use your words, but my words, how is it we
Yes.
can be comfortable in who
Mm.
we are and where we
Mm.
are, rather than always,
Yeah.
thinking
Yes.
happiness is going to be when this happens, when that happens. How can we
Mm.
be in that
Good.
place of contentedness?
Good question. I think a key aspect that I really develop in my book is this idea of self-acceptance of who we are with our brokenness and our struggles, and accepting how life is. We all live in a broken world, I believe.
Mm,
There are challenges, and I have found, so there's a lot of personal story in this book, that when we live in a place of acceptance in the life that we're in, as the person that we are, with our struggles, with our grief, and accept them, they can somehow be transformed. And we find a contentment because we're not pushing things away, we're not living in denial or seeking the meaning out there. We're willing to be present in our own lives. And things start to change, and we find things start to grow from those barren places, just like, springtime. You see the plants coming through in those empty places. That's what it's like to be human. There's stuff that will grow if we allow it.
mm, mm.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, I want to read your book and learn
Yes.
more, Olivia.
Yes. You will enjoy it, Matt.
I will, very much so. So, Olivia,
Yes.
you did the Writing My Book course. What
Yes.
was it that you found so helpful about the journey?
I think it's having goals and expectations, and you've paid some money, and you're meeting these people every week, or then it becomes 2 weeks, and you think to yourself, I don't want to waste my money and people's time and show up and not do it. So that is where it's so helpful. And then, of course, the content in your course is wonderful. You've obviously done this so many times and it works. And I found the guidance incredibly helpful. I really enjoyed it, and it, yeah, it keeps you on track. I found all of my questions were answered, and I was supported. And I had a lot of questions. Sorry, Matt, you've been, Matt is very good with people who have questions. So it's been wonderful.
I love questions. But I think you do win the lifetime award for asking the most questions of any author I've coached.
Apologies, but
No.
that curiosity comes out in the book, and I encourage it in others, not to be a pain in the neck with questions, but being curious. Yes, it is a hallmark of mine.
It's wonderful, really refreshing.
Mm.
And
Mm.
Olivia, what is it that you hope for your book? I mean, what is it you hope
Mm.
it achieves? If it was to achieve, I mean, yes,
Mm.
obviously you want to sell thousands, but that aside, in terms of a deeper motivation,
Yeah.
purpose for you, what would you love it to
Yes.
accomplish?
I think I have three desires for
Mm,
it, and they have to be desires rather than goals because I can't determine the outcome. But the
absolutely.
desire, the desire is that each person that reads it will be positively influenced, and helped. It would really help people individually. Secondly, I would love to speak about the content in the book more. I'm passionate about it.
Mm.
Um, and thirdly, I would like to develop more events around the content of the book so that it feeds into what I'm doing. Probably not directly as a psychotherapist or in a movement class, but that it feeds into some of the projects that I'm beginning to establish alongside. Yeah.
Mm. I like that contrast you draw. They're not goals, they're desires, because you
Mm,
can't control whether they happen or not. But there
yeah.
are things you can do, obviously, that could increase the likelihood of your desires
Yeah.
happening. And many authors, well, some authors are already speakers, and
Mm,
speaking and writing go beautifully together. They're like
mm,
siblings. But if
yeah.
you're not a speaker and you've done a book, actually, it's a great way to begin to develop
Yeah.
as a public speaker and presenting to groups, big and small
Yeah.
alike. So
Yeah.
we must talk more about that.
Yes.
But Olivia, is there anything you would like to leave people as we wrap up our conversation today?
Well, I'd love people to go and get the book. I suppose there are two elements that I haven't even brought into the conversation about my book, and I think they're the USP in well-being for all of us. We need to connect with our bodies more,
Mm.
and there is a reciprocal relationship. As we do, it opens up spiritual awareness. And so I believe that a somatic awareness and a spiritual awareness bring us into a greater place of wholeness. So that's another push for the book. I hope people might go and read it and come along to an event or hear me speak. It's been wonderful to share this. Thanks,
Oh,
Matt.
Olivia, thank you so much. And thank you all for listening to the Publish You podcast featuring the real life stories of authors from around the world. If you're interested in becoming an author like Olivia, please do contact us via our website, www.publish, the letter U, publishu.com. And if you've enjoyed this broadcast, make sure you subscribe for more. Thank you so much for joining us, and goodbye for now.